into a special edition of Mystics Outlook. It's officially the postseason. We got Cardo Dudley Jr. here. We got Raymond Lyons, Wilson Tarpe Jr. And look, game one, the New York Liberty came out victorious with the 90-75 win over the Washington Mystics. Cardell, we'll start with you, and then Ray, your thoughts on how this one played out.
Sabrina Ionescu. Simple as that. She took over in the second half. She bombed the Mystics with, quick threes from all around the court. And that's uncharacteristic for the caliber of defenders that the Mystics had for her to kind of get that daylight to be able to do that. And I know there's a bunch of screens being set on them or whatnot, but regardless, once you saw her kind of heating up, you got to kind of put that fire out. But she wasn't alone. Obviously, John Quayle's the mainstay. They haven't been able to do nothing with her pretty much all season. And but Laney was the X factor when the Mystics kind of had control after the first quarter. Going in the second quarter, Laney was the one that, along with John Quayle, that was keeping them close. Obviously Stewie struggled once again. She struggled Sunday as well. I think in these two games, she's only made 7 out of 33 shots. So but she's finding other ways to impact the game defensively. She's holding Della down the check. She's rebounding. She's, for assists, she's diamond. But, it came down to the backcourt. And, I was talking about in the preview, like the Mystics won on Sunday, but they barely won. And when they won, and once again, like I said, Stewie was off. But Ionescu and John Quill still was productive. And that worried me a little bit. Laney was okay, but she didn't do what she did tonight. And that worried me. And also the other X factor was the Mystics bench played well. They scored 25 points. Tonight, 9 points. You know what I mean? And you lose by 15. It's a complete difference. The New York Liberty backcourt, even Vandersloot, she struggled last game. She struggled last game. She struggled a little bit this game, but she didn't force it. She was 7, 6, and 6. Damn, they had a triple double or whatnot. The Mystics backcourt, they got it's especially Cloud. You cannot go 1 for 8 in the playoff game. It's just I love the 8 rebounds, the 8 assists. We know she's gonna defend, but that hurt. That hurt, especially when Ionescu going off and you were guarding her. You know what I mean? It's just like if she start bombing, you gotta hit those shots. You know what I'm saying? And because that opens things up for everything now. The Liberty have to adjust to you because you're hitting shots now, and that's when the Mystics are at their best. They can't afford for really anybody, but they can't afford for their backcourt, any one of them, to not shoot well, especially now in the playoffs against the Liberty. Because look, the Liberty still haven't played well. They haven't had the full deck all hoop, like put up numbers yet, and they're beating you by 15 already. You know what I'm saying? So, it's back to the drawing board. The Mystics got to do something. Shout out to Maya Johns Allen. She balled. She showed up. 21 and 8. Man, they can get that out of her. That's big time. But the bench the bench got to rebound and play better. Cloud definitely got to shoot better, man. And Atkins. One thing, I love Atkins. She's my favorite Mystic. But one thing about her that always, in a sense, that's get criticism from me is she got to stay out of foul trouble. She has a tendency to pick up a couple bad fouls here and there, and that add up when the game goes along. You know what I mean. It's hard to keep her on the floor. So she had 4 fouls. It was tough, and she had it going. She was 6 of 15. 14.6, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. So both ends she was hooping. But those key moments where she can't because of foul trouble, it hurts, especially with Cloud being off the way she is.
Right.
Yeah, man, it's just some missed opportunities for sure for the Mystics, and Sabrina getting loose. It just kind of opened the game up for Liberty, especially when the Mystics they battled back and cut the lead back down to 12 to 6. I'm sorry, and then Sabrina hit back-to-back threes, pushed it back up to 12, and it was a wrap from that point. Yeah, like Cardell pointed out, man, it was. You would expect, once it looked like Sabrina was warming up, that the Mystics would adjust defensively and kind of cool off a little bit. But they just didn't defend the screens well, and she got some clean looks, and yeah, and they was falling, and yeah, that just pushed the game out of reach. Of course, what Benaja Laney did, man, she saved them early. Without her contribution, 14 in the first half. In the way the Mystics came out the blocks, that it could have got ugly early for the Liberty. But yeah, Benaja and John Quill, they kept them in it. Mystics, they were crisp offensively in the first quarter, and defensively for the most part they won the game. But those two for the Liberty, man, they held it together, and they came out pretty well. They was down 6, considering how well the Mystics played in that first quarter. It could have been much worse. So yeah, man, Benaja and Jonquel, man, everybody need to buy them dinner tonight because yeah, they saved the game really because with the way things was going without their contributions, Stewie hadn't made a field goal yet. Sabrina hadn't got it going yet. Vandersloot, she was still in check. The Mystics could have really had their foot on their necks, and it would have been a big hole to climb out of. But then throughout the game, just me and Wilson was talking on the broadcast, just a lot of missed layups. The Liberty had a lot of second chance points. Those are crucial possessions that the Mystics gave back up. And then, it was a point in the game, like middle of the third quarter, where it was just a lot of sloppy possessions, and the Mystics weren't able to really generate any offense. And that's the first time the Liberty were able to stretch the lead to 12. And it was cool they were able to keep it manageable and within striking distance during that downtime. But I mean, you got to capitalize on those opportunities, especially in a game like this. But yeah, Maisha, she definitely, if you get those numbers out of her, you tell me that's what she's going to provide you with pregame. I'm going to assume the Mystics win. Because I'm going to expect everybody else to perform up to their normal standards as well. But yeah, man, just late in the game, the Liberty made the plays and the Mystics didn't.
Yeah, I think you guys pretty much took care of it all. But like y'all said, Laney was everything early. She found a way to hurt Washington in so many different ways in that first half, be a second chance opportunities off the bounce. And then John Quell, even with Sabrina getting going late, she was sending some monster screens. I know we all remember Sabrina hitting the shots. Some huge screens were being set. And obviously, Washington could have handled it better. But I thought she was huge in this game, just providing New York with a steady, consistent post presence for 4 quarters. We know John Quell is capable of doing, of hurting a team on all 3 levels. But, credit to her for not just sitting outside, jacking up shots or something of that nature. She was down there being productive on both ends for them. Even late in the game, I think one of the threes that Sabrina got late was off her just tapping the ball up off the glass. She couldn't get her hand to it. She tips it back off the glass. Stewie gets it. 2 swings later, it's a New York 3. Great job by New York sorting through this and getting the dub. Carter, we'll start with you, player of the game.
Yeah, I'm going with Jonquel. She was dominant throughout the game, her consistent play. I know Ionescu woke up in the second half and kind of gave them the cushion that they needed to take game 1, but Jonquel was the mainstay. They couldn't do nothing with her. 20, 12, and 4. And, they felt her throughout the game in a lot of ways, man. So 2 blocks and 1 steal as well. Did play great defense on Deladon, kept her in check. She definitely did her jam job, so she get that from me.
Right.
Yeah, man, like it's super hard to not to give it to Sabrina because of the way she finished. But yeah, man, Jonquel, like she was the settling piece for New York. Especially when they were struggling at times. We were talking about how she was just sitting on people and burying them under the rim. They was finding her for layups. She doesn't get those easy buckets and those possessions. Who knows what happens, man? That's an opportunity for the Mystics to stretch their lead. And yeah, just having that constant pressure on them and able to to give the Liberty easy looks when they weren't really that cohesive offensively, man. It was really that's what kind of stabilized them and allowed them to finish the way they did.
All right, on to the X Factor. Ray, we'll start with you and then Cardo.
Oh, gotta be Benaja Laney, man. She was all over the place on both ends. Just her impact in the first half alone, and she, wasn't as impactful statistically in the second half, but her presence was still felt, and she did make some plays down the stretch. When the Mystics was trying to claw back into it late, she hit a three, got a couple more offensive rebounds. Yeah, man, like this was a big time performance from her.
Same for me, Laney. 19 to 8, 8 to 15, just all around efficient, man. And a lot of her buckets were like just right place at right time at the right time, offensive rebounds. They're just backbreakers. Like the Mystics will play great defense. Somebody get a shot, they miss, and you like get the rebound. She be by herself getting the rebound, putting it back up, and it's just like dog. And that's why people don't understand. Like rebounding is a part of defense. You can play great on the majority of the shot clock, but if you don't get that board, they get 2, 3, 4 cracks at it, they're going to score eventually, and that will deflate you. Because then you're going to start cheating to try to be in position to get the rebound, not doing your job defensively. It's only human nature. And then they're going to start lighting you up and before the shot clock gets down. You know what I mean? So the Mystics definitely have to do a good job. I understand they got monsters down there, versatile monsters down there. I get it. But they got to do something. And that's why the Liberty hard to beat. It's just facts. That's why they're hard to beat. They got so many players that can kill you. You know what I mean? And that's why I said the Mystics, especially with Shakira out, they really have no room for error. So you can't afford to have the bad shooting performances, the miscues or not getting rebounds or whatnot, not getting over screens, man, because you're going to be in a position you're in now where another win, it's, time to go fishing.
Did y'all have anything else y'all wanted to add? There's clearly some time between now and game 2. And Ricardo, I know you have another fire preview for game 2, but if you guys had anything else you want to add on this game, or we good?
Keep the main thing, man. There's a lot of chirping going on. When that usually happens, it don't go good, man. Just hoop. You know what I'm saying? You could tell they was fired up. Messi jumped out on them. And then once the Liberty settled down, that 23-13 second quarter was brutal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That swung the momentum, and Liberty didn't give it back. So, that's why it's just best to just sneak up on and just hoop sometimes, man. Leave all this out, especially, if you talking, you don't perform. It looks very bad. You know what I mean? So, and another person that hit your position lights the entire team up. It ain't good. You know what I mean? So keep the main thing, and just lock in and try to get this thing back to DC. That should be their goal. They were close for most of the game, but they definitely got to correct some things, man. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, man, that's scary about the Liberty, dog. Stewie ain't got all. It's only a matter of time. Because if she do what she do, man, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So all hands on deck, man. All hands on deck.
For sure. And we'll see how things turn out on Tuesday for game 2. The result means one of two things: coming back to DC for a game, or just coming back to DC for the offseason.
Packing for overseas, baby. Packing for overseas.
One of two things comes out of Tuesday. And again, you were in it for much of the game. Those little moments with miscues, like we've been talking about all this season, because of the injuries and whatnot, and even when they've been healthy, just not being able to capitalize off moments, it's hurt them. And you got a really small room for error, and gotta tighten up.
22% from 3, that hurt. Man, that hurt.
For sure. Yeah.
Like you were in it everywhere else. Like we've seen games where they got housed on the glass. This wasn't one of those. One of those things. Like obviously, the second chance opportunities did definitely hurt, but they also got their fair share. But New York capitalized off their second chance opportunities. They're gonna have to do something about navigating them screens better.
And the points in the paint, it was a lot closer than 42-40 tonight. But when they won on Sunday, it was, give me a second. It was, I believe 40-28, the Mystics way. So that's what I mean by the defense wasn't the same. The defense wasn't the same, man. So the execution defensively, it wasn't as consistent throughout the game as it was on Sunday, and they can't afford to have that, man. I don't care if you making shots or not; they got to hold up on that end. Because now they got a couple ladies that were fairly in check. Look, John Quill, you just live with that. But Sabrina was kind of fairly in check. So was Laney. Now they got confidence, and they at the crib, so they just like, we gonna put them up out. We gonna get them up out of here. Like I said, it's Stewie. It's only a matter of time, and it may be the next game. So we gonna see.
For sure. Appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. We'll see y'all very